Right, my friends, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing 10 easy freestyle tricks for beginners, so let's get straight into it. So we're at His Lordship Recreation Ground in London right now. Little location drop for you. The first trick is a boneless. This trick is actually one of the easiest ones that you can do as a beginner, and that's because you don't have to take almost any risk doing so. Providing you can ride the board, that's all you really need. So what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna take your front foot off, and you're gonna use your right hand if you skate regular, left hand if you skate goofy. And what we're going to do is when we take that front foot off, we're going to grab the board on the right hand side, kick it out like this, extend it with a straight leg, and then jump back on. So the trick all in one motion is going to look like this. Again, you can break it down into such simple and incremental steps that all you have to do is just ride up real slow, front foot off, hand on, scrape the tail and straighten the leg, and then jump back on. I'd say to start yourself off, just stand still and do it exactly how I do here. Like this, hand on the side, leg out, and then jump. Then add it all together at your own pace, and you should end up with something just like this. And you just heard from Holly behind the camera possibly that it's her favourite trick, so also impress the ladies with this one. The trick number 2 is Primo. Babes, I'm going to want you up here for this one. If you don't know what a Primo is, it's going to look something like this. You basically put the board on its side and try not to hit your face on the ground. First order of business, you find a bit of ground that's flat so the board can sit on its side evenly. Now, I will note that this will wobble if your truck size doesn't quite match your board size. It doesn't matter too much. As long as the gap isn't too wide, then you should be all right standing on it. All in one go, the trick's going to look like this. Looks simple enough, scary at first, but there's a good technique. So come closer, babes. So you're gonna have one foot on the side like this, and your other foot is gonna be just over where the wheel is. So the wheel's obviously just under the concave of the board, so you're gonna have your toes just hanging over that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put weight on this foot, and as we do that, we're gonna step forward of this one, so as it pulls it down, the front foot steps onto it just like that. As you get the weight onto this foot, you bring the back one over, and boom, you're up there. In motion, remember, left foot brings the board up, right foot steps onto the wheel, left foot follows the right foot. All in one motion, it looks just like this.
That was so good.
What
that was so fast.
I literally skipped a frame. You ready? Right, so all those things that I just said will look just like this. And then to get out of it, it's just a little flick of the heels. You can even put the board on its side like this and practice getting out of it first, just to get yourself used to it so that you're ready when you get to this point. But anyway, once you're here, land over the bolts, Primo completed trick number 3. Trick number 3, no comply 180. Now, the series of no comply tricks are some of the best in the business. I love these ones, and to be honest, from the comment section, it seems most of you guys do too. So a no comply is similar to a boneless. You take one foot off, but this time we don't grab the board, we pop the board round like for a 180, which is what we're gonna be doing here. I feel like that's the easiest version to get started with. So you're gonna stand still to practice your motion first of all, popping the board like this and following it with the foot. So the foot goes 180 with the board. So all in one motion, you take that foot off, kick it round, aiming to just tap the back foot on the floor, not hold it there for too long. It's gonna look something like this. So front foot comes off, back foot guides it round. Aiming to have that back foot on the ground for no longer than like half a second to a second. I've got a full tutorial on this, so you can watch that afterwards. On to trick number 4. Right, so staying on that same theme of like style of trick, we're going for a boneless 180 now. This is similar to the no comply 180, except we're gonna grab the board and jump with it. So you already know how to do the boneless from the beginning of the video. Foot off, hand on, grab it, extend, and jump. This time we're gonna go for a frontside 180, which is the easiest variation to do. And probably the easiest 180 variation just in skateboarding in general. So it's just gonna look like this. And then you land going fakie. Again, you can break this down into real easy steps, which is the theme of this video, hence why they're beginner tricks. Take that foot off, grab it, twist it around, and go backwards. Do it as slow and as incremental as you need. A lot of other tips I can give you for that one, except I will say that it looks a lot better if you scrape the tail a slight bit on the way around. Let me give you 2 variations. This is the good version, and this is the wet fart version that you don't want to be doing. I think it's easy to tell which one looks better. On to trick number 5. Caspar. Caspar is basically when you have one foot on the top end of the tail and the other foot holds it up in the air. Easy way to get out of this is just to jump forward slightly, because the weight of this foot will flip the board over, and then you just aim to keep this one over these bolts and this one over these bolts. To do it properly, you need to hold the board in the air first, which means you need to put a bit of weight on this foot and lift this knee up a tiny bit. A lot to take in at first, but it's way easier once you actually get your feet to the board and start trying it yourself. Lift it up and then jump forward and try to stick the landing a bit better than me. So in an ideal situation, it's going to look a little something like this. And boom, you've just learned how to Caspar. 5 tricks already, you must have learned a ton. If that's the case, consider becoming a member. On with the show. Trick number 6 is literally the easiest trick there is. I felt like in a beginner list, it kind of needs to be included. The Caveman. It really is as easy as it seems. This could be the first trick you ever learned on your skateboard. It was likely mine. So all you need to do is hold the board by the nose, which will be like this if you're regular, and maybe with the other hand if you're goofy. What you need to do, keep your thumb on this side, 4 fingers on that side, jump and chuck it underneath your feet. You can start real slow at first, like bringing it basically down and just hopping on. And as you level it up, you can get a bit more brave until the point where you're literally like, and it just sucks straight up to your feet. The most basic version of it is obviously the easiest, but you can spice it up by popping into it as well. On to trick number 7. Next up, we've got walk the dog. Kind of a debate whether this is a trick or not, but it's really just turning the board around and stepping over to keep the momentum going. And you can turn around, just do little ones. Kind of a cool maneuver, I really like doing it. But I understand why it's not everybody's cup of tea. All you need to do is have one foot in the middle of the board, and that foot pretty much remains straight and just hovers. And then the back foot does the turning. Keep that front foot middle, keep that front foot in the middle, and turn it with the board. This is again another one of them ones where you're gonna have to save this video and then play it as you try it, just to give yourself a bit of inspiration. Because it's easier to do if you're watching someone do it whilst you try. While it looks simple, the technique can take a little while to grasp, but I've seen you guys do some crazy stuff, so I believe in you. On to trick number 8. So trick number 8 is called the Saran wrap. Now basically what you do is you have one foot on this, so you're gonna put your nose of the board on the floor, have one foot on this truck, you're gonna grab this truck with your other hand and then bring your leg up and wrap it round through your hand like this. So an easy way to practice it is hold that front truck and just bring the leg around like that. And then I'm gonna have to put the microphone down for this one because it is a two-handed move. Leg up, round. And that's the Saran wrap. On to number 9. Number 10 is gonna be the old school flip, but before we get to that, number 9 is the no comply shove it. This is a very similar variation. If you can lock down that no comply 180 from earlier in the video, then you can do this one for sure, because it's basically the same thing, except the body doesn't follow the board round, we just jump straight. So instead of kicking the board round and following it, we're gonna kick the board around and keep our foot facing the same direction. Again, practice this one by doing the same thing at the start, kicking the board round in a diagonal direction, but this time instead of following it round, just stop it and keep the foot straight, like this. So for the first one we followed it, for this one, we're keeping it straight. And then you just jump onto it as the board comes round, aiming to tap the foot for the same amount of time as the last one. No longer than a second on the floor is my rule. Pop it round and tap it down. That's the Webz Skateboard's motto. Starting now. Alright, trick number 10, the old school kickflip. Now, this one is definitely the most difficult one on the list, but probably the most rewarding if you can get it. And this is how they used to do kickflips back in the day. All you do is you hook the back foot underneath the board and use it to flip it over. So it's a bit of a mission, but you kind of like put a bit of weight on your left foot to lift the edge of the board up and then hook that one underneath it and flip it over. So it looks something like this. My foot is quite injured still, so I'm not going to be too great at it, but I'm going to try to land at least one clean one to show you that it's not too difficult. No, I can't do that one. Unfortunately, my foot injury isn't allowing me to do that right now, so I'm going to overlay some of my older footage of me doing it, so you can see that as one foot leans on one side, the board kind of tips up if your trucks are slightly loose, and then as it tips up, you can hook this foot underneath And then as you jump, you're going to put the weight on this side, and the other foot will be able to flip it over like that. You will travel about a foot from right to left, but that's just normal for this trick. If you've learned something new, consider becoming a member. Thanks for watching.